I also want to open my speech by giving warm thoughts to the Ukrainian people suffering from war against Russia. And on this day, the 8th of March, especially to all the women in Ukraine fighting for democracy and freedom, things that we take for granted. That is also why it is important to have networks like EUGAIN, bringing knowledge, encouragement, and support across borders. Dear all, welcome to the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, NTNU. NTNU was established in 1910. It is interesting that the first female PhD graduated from our university in 1963, more than 50 years after the establishment of the university. Synnøve Jensen was then, in 1970, appointed as a professor in chemistry at our university. And this was, in fact, more than 50 years ago. And much has happened since then when it comes to gender balance in academia. But we still have a long way to go, because women are underrepresented in informatics at all levels, from undergraduate and graduate studies to participation and leadership in academia and industry. The main aim and objective of EUGAIN is to improve gender balance in informatics at all levels through the creation of a European network of colleagues. At NTNU, we have worked systematically to fill the gender gaps at all levels. So how well does really NTNU score on gender equality in the disciplines addressed? We have done and are doing a lot of right things, like the recruitment project ADA, and ADA is named after the world's first programmer, Ada Lovelace. And the ADA project, which for 20 years has worked to recruit more female students in several technological study programs. And the statistics from the last 15 years show that the proportion of female students now has increased from 7% to 35% on average in the study programs Kybernetics and Robotics, Electronic System Design and Innovation, Communication Technology and Digital Security, and Computer Technology. So, among the students, the numbers are quite well, but unfortunately the numbers decreases when it comes to PhDs, postdocs, and finally the lowest number when it comes to permanent professors in these fields. NTNU has therefore several mechanisms for increasing gender balance when it comes to professorships. NTNU has starting packages for women in permanent positions at institutes that have less than 25% women within these positions. And we have qualifying scholarships for women in associate professor and senior lecturer position in order to make it easier to qualify to a professor. NTNU also has a mentoring program for women in the positions of associate professor and senior lecturing. And finally, we have this very, very important and new program, EUGAIN, from PhD to professor, which the Research Council actually last year allocated 9.3 million Norwegian crowns. And this program is chaired by our own Professor Letizia Jaqueri, whom we are very proud of when it comes to many different things, among being a frontier within her own field of research, showing possibilities for females in science and informatics, explaining that you do not need to be perfect in all you do in order to succeed in academia, being an idol for many young students and researchers and scientific associate professor at our university, and much, much more. NTNU is proud to have you, Letizia, at our university, and thank you for the work that you do. But although we have many good initiatives at NTNU, we also have many challenges and a long way to go, especially when it comes to recruiting female professors. But it is important to have a long-time perspective and work strategically and systematically with gender equality at all levels. This is not done in a jiffy. Last year, NTNU participated in a French documentary film about the lack of gender balance in informatics and science. The documentary, The Science Has a Bad Gender, integrated NTNU to show how targeted strategic work helps to create more equality in the relevant fields. During their research with the documentary, the TV team reached out to NTNU through the scientist Isabelle Collett, and she is an associate professor of education science at the University of Geneva and does research on which measures can be made to increase the number of women in the subjects informatics, information and computer technology, and science. In her research work, Isabelle Collett mentions NTNU as a university that have implemented targeted recruitment measures and has achieved results through this. The film premiered at France's second-largest television channel, France 2, last autumn during the yearly Science Festival. The fact that such a large international TV channel covers the topic confirms what we all know, that this is an important topic in all countries. The Norwegian welfare system also contributes to gender equality. The film team interviewed a dozen French female NTNU researchers and compared their experiences from French academia and Norwegian academia and NTNU. And the French researcher point out that the Norwegian welfare system and mentality in Norway contribute to equality to a great extent. In France, for example, there is only 10 weeks of maternity leave after giving birth. And it's often expected that the woman stays at home with sick children. This is different in Norway, where we have almost a year for maternity leave, and I think very many of the men are also home with sick children as well. A pregnancy might also be something you dread to tell your employer. When I became pregnant when I was a PhD student, and also with my second child when I was a research director at SINTEF, I had heard only positive feedback. Nothing with my pregnancy and family life has reduced my career possibilities. Therefore, gender balance is important in academia as well as in society. We need to support and encourage each other, get inspired, and get good advice. I will therefore congratulate you with this day and especially with this important network. At NTNU, our flag is hoisted today because this day is important. I will also wish you all a fruitful conference and by this encourage your further work on this very, very important issue. Thank you.